Scenes. Oh, it worked. Perfect. Hello, and hello. So today I'm doing something a little different. Me and Chimp have decided to do a just chatting stream. Never done one of these before, so this should be interesting. Let's see how it goes. So let me go into Discord and unmute myself.
It does change it around there. How you doing?
Hello. Hello. How are you?
I just took a sip of Dr. Pepper, so I'm doing pretty good.
Nice.
And a little bit of, nice jazz music playing in the background of the stream here.
Sweet. I was thinking that. I was like, it's going to be awfully quiet. I was like, I should have looked into that beforehand. I should have found some music to play.
Well, honestly, I've actually heard a lot, or not heard, I've heard and seen a lot of people using this thing called Pretzel.
Okay. You've mentioned Pretzel.
Yeah, I've actually just tried it. I think it's like the third or fourth stream trying it out and using it.
Okay.
And so far it's working out pretty good. Like I have it on here, I have it set up so it's playing through an unused audio source on my system.
Okay.
Which surprisingly also goes to the desktop whenever I actually want to monitor it myself as well.
Okay.
So I'm hoping it's not doubling up in stream. I told people here in chat here, if it does, let me know and I'll stop monitoring it in my ears. So I like to listen to it too.
Right.
But you can get a free license to use it, and you get like a handful of stations. Like here, there's let's see here, there's ambient, there's chill, there's chill jazz, which I got playing right now.
Nice.
There's chiptune, there's EDM, lo-fi. There's metal.
I love
pop.
lo-fi. Oh man, I have to set this up. You said it's called Pretzel?
Yep, Pretzel, just like the snack.
I am gonna look this up.
Pretzel. And you can get an actual player to download on your system that can help you out with that too. Here, let me send the name of it here.
Oh, thank you. That'll help. Yeah, send me that. I'll be able to look that up. Pretzel.
Oh, wrong button. I tried to click back onto the Pretzel player because I was actually going to see there's a link on here I could grab.
Right.
But I accidentally, I think, clicked on the link to open up my 3D printer software.
Oops.
So, yeah, my 3D printer program is now loading, which is not a problem. I can just close out of that one. So
you know what? I just realized what's going to help me. Remember I was having issues with the... Oh, crap.
And exit out of that. There we go.
I just messed up everything.
Don't do that.
Shit. I just moved the freaking thing over because I wanted to... Oh, crapola. Hold on. I don't know what I did now. Shit. Hold on.
You did something awesome.
I wanted to move OBS to the main screen, but I realized it was pulling from the other one because that's how I... fungal. Hold on. Nope. No, I don't know what I did. Because if it's over here, then the picture...
Problems already? No problems, Joel. Just I clicked on the wrong button and Mom was just making sure things are going good on her side of things.
Nope, now it's on my screen. God damn it. I screwed up everything. I just wanted to move it over.
No.
What desktop do I pull it from then?
I don't know.
Shit.
Whichever one you have it set up for.
Nope, I got a fungal. You know what? I am so agitated. All right, fine, I'll leave it over here. Okay, so I have OBS on my little monitor.
Yes.
And I have the picture that I want to use for my background on the big monitor. And remember, I was complaining about the webcam. So I'm like, I'll just move OBS onto the big monitor so that I could be looking directly at it. I could read OBS and see my chat and be looking at the camera. But when I move OBS to the big monitor, it takes away the picture and just shows my OBS or my desktop. Wait.
Yeah, because you're doing display capture. So if you have to then either
I think I
change your display capture to the other monitor, or
can I move that
just have it be
and
like
then
an image.
dang it. Hold on. I want to see if I can do this real quick. And if I do that, did I
get it?
Almost. Can I
Baby?
make it bigger? No.
Can we do it?
No.
Can we do the thing that does the thing that makes the thing?
Yes. We can. Jesus.
I'm just bebopping along to some music here. So while Mom was figuring out her thing there, let me just give my since we're talking customer service / retail / all those kind of stories in there, let me drop some credentials on the people over here.
Ooh,
Can she make it bigger? LOL. Joel?
You know I can.
Well, her answer that question. So back to what I was saying entirely. It has nothing to do with making things bigger. So, for me, I have been in customer service pretty much since leaving high school. So that was like basically 2003 on up to, I don't know, 2018, 2019 that I finally quit the big W and said, I'm out of here, I'm not doing this anymore. Something like that. So, quite a while.
Yep.
We'll just say that. So, but I've done everything from doing like the receiving in the back all the way up to like loss prevention, assistant manager, all that kind of stuff, and whatever it may be when it comes to the retail stuff.
See, loss prevention is one thing I've never been involved in.
Oh, that's where the fun stuff's at.
Well, it's funny because I've never worked until now in a company that's big enough to have loss prevention. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's funny now because I deal with them, I shouldn't say on a daily basis, but I've had to deal with them, which I laugh because I'm like, one day they like told us to answer the phones. Like, he came over and he was like, I highly suggest you answer the phone. And I'm looking at him like, dude, you're loss prevention. Like, okay, tell me I can't have my bag in the back, or I can't hang my coat over here, or something to that effect, but don't tell me to answer the phone. Like, that's not, you're stepping outside of your job.
That's actually the thing that most people don't know about loss prevention is most of them are actually able to just, like, give normal instructions and orders and things like that to floor associates in the store.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
Like one of the APs we had, and once I was for Wally World, mm-hmm. They actually technically held the title of assistant manager.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like they can come over and say, like, it might even be something loss prevention, oriented that they're telling you to go answer those phones for, because it might be the police are going to call, or somebody's going to call, like an investigator, detective's going to call. So then so the phones have to be answered, so then you can then route that call to the appropriate place, because the detective calls, they can't automatically be sent over to loss prevention themselves.
See, that's the thing.
So you never know what it could be.
That's true. Like, but see, our company, like, if there was a situation like that, there are numbers. There's like, if you call, there's like a 20-minute automated thing to find out where you need to go. I'm in a certain department. They're not calling me to do anything unless there's an issue with us. This was just him telling us to answer the phone because it's just something that we were supposed to do. I'm sorry, when there's a bazillion people and I don't have time to answer the phone, I'm just not going to answer the phone because I'm waiting on people. So it's just a thing. It was just one of those things that I'm like, but see, that's another thing. I've never like I said, I've never worked in a company big enough to have loss prevention like that. So therefore, nobody explained to me when I started that, hey, loss prevention is kind of like management within the store, that, if they see you're doing something wrong, they're going to correct you. Because I looked at this dude like, the fuck? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, what? Don't tell me to answer the phone,
Yeah, because most people think of loss prevention. I'm sure everybody here in chat is probably thinking the same exact thing. They're there to catch the people who are stealing.
Yes.
They're trying to catch the person taking the shoes, taking the money, taking whatever. Mm-hmm. You can chat. You can just type stories in the chat there, Joel, too. That's okay. But like, they're also there to catch the internal thefts as well, which includes theft of time.
Yeah.
So them coming out to tell somebody, hey, answer the phones, they might have gotten the report from somebody else in the store saying, hey, this person just, standing around going on their phone all day.
Right.
You never know what it could have been. Like, I've actually had to go to people, I actually did, like I said, loss prevention a little bit it was a college bookstore. Mm-hmm. I had to also always be grabbing, people and then saying, hey, we're seeing you doing this. I see you on cameras doing it. Fix it or you're out of here.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
And the best part about that one though is my desk. Because like I had a nice desk. I was like assistant manager / customer service manager / loss prevention. Like I had so many different hats at that place. Right. That was funny. But I actually maintained a desk on the floor as well as a back room one. My back room was basically just where I would do like the countdowns of drawers and things like that.
Right.
But my one on the floor is actually out among like where the textbooks were sold because it was a college bookstore. Mm-hmm. And it actually overlooked the entire sales floor area. So I could actually see like what people were doing. I had mirrors up, in certain areas. So I could actually see down aisles and everything from where I was at. So it's like I could see everything people were doing.
Right.
And yeah, it got kind of freaky sometimes because, like I said, it was college.
Right.
It was college kids.
Exactly. It's funny. Verkopa just said, yeah, my last job fired 6 supervisors for theft of time for leaving company grounds for 5 hours and still getting paid salary. Nice. Mm-hmm. And you know what? If there was better structure at my job, I would agree with both of you. Like, I could totally see the theft of time, but the fact that the things that I've seen people get away with and the shit that ensues in this job, even on full-on camera, it makes it a joke because I'm like, that's the other funny part is that to actually do anything with like actually firing people for theft of time and all that, you have to build such a humongous case against them. Yeah, but the thing is it depends on. Okay, so with being the company that I work for, there are multiple managers, okay? Mm-hmm. And they kind of run all over the place. But then each department is supposed to have, like, their own manager for each department. So, like, my old manager, when she came into our department, because when I first started, we didn't have a manager. He was on paternity leave for, like, ever. So we went through, like, the Christmas season and everything with no management. When the new manager came in, she just started firing people. We were like, the fuck, man? Like, she didn't even write them up. She didn't give them warning. She was just firing people left and right. And I was like, dude, they're not firing anybody. But like that specific manager for our department decided this is how I want to run things, and they're gonna. But the rest of the store, the other, they don't care. They legitimately do not care. I can guarantee it.
and there's some managers that totally don't care. Like for me, like same store, same thing. Mm-hmm. He actually wanted me to go through and keep track and trace this person through the entire store so we actually build a case against them because we knew they had stolen textbooks.
Right.
So I actually took the time and actually I followed this person on every camera angle all throughout the entire store. Never lost sight of him because it's actually out in California and that is the law out there. Mm-hmm. If you lose sight of this person for even half a second, your case is done. You can't do anything about them because who knows, they might have dumped the stuff at that point in time.
Right.
And then picked up more stuff later, and then you have a whole different case.
Right.
But I had this thing down pat where I was following them around the entire store, had every single camera angle, everything. We had every piece of evidence needed ready, there's pictures, video, personal statements, the whole 9 yards, all ready to go. Put onto a flash drive to hand over to the police.
Right.
Everything. Store manager comes over. Oh no, don't worry about it. We're not going to press charges on him. So it's like it all comes down to that one manager. Because I know where you're at. It's kind of the same thing as when I was at Wally. You have the store within a store, so you have your manager there. Then you have like an overall manager, then an upper manager. You have the different levels of the managers, and it only takes one of them to sit there and say, no, we're not doing it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, they're so desperate for employees that it's so hard to get fired. And Verkopa said he's right. They did that they did that like 3 to 6 times a month for 5 years before anything was even said. Dang, 5 years? Holy crap. Yeah. See.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not
even right now
surprised.
with people where I work, like I keep records on and where I'm at right now, it's not customer service related at all, but I do the same thing. I keep the records of this is when people are coming in, this is when they're leaving, this is when they're doing certain things, this is gaps of time that can't be accounted for.
Right.
But it could be months before anything is done about anything.
Right.
Yeah, that's the main thing I always experience in every customer service job. It's like nothing's taken care of immediately by anybody who cares. It takes the long haul, the long run to get anything done.
Right. Well, so I worked in an outlet store selling shoes because that's just my thing. And so I tried for manager, I don't know how many times, and I kept getting bypassed because the main guy was a jerk, but whatever, that's beside the point. So one day I was left by myself with all these kids because the two managers that were on duty, the husband and wife that got hired, they always took lunch together. So they would take lunch together and there was not a manager in the store. Me being the oldest one, because that's how it always is I wasn't even as old as I am now, like I was still, a teenager, but I was still the oldest one in the store at that point. Just kind of took over because that's what I do. So at one point, one of the kids comes to me and says, these two girls stole some shoes. And when he mentioned them, and I was like, oh my God, I remember these girls coming in because they had them stupid sneakers. Do you remember those like tennis shoes that were like platforms? So like the soles were like 3 inches high and then they were white sneakers. I hated those things.
Right when you said stupid shoes, I'm like, oh, it's going to be either like the rolly ones or like super platform ones.
Yeah, it was super platform because we're going back. Like you got to remember how young I was. This was a while ago. So yeah, they were like those tennis shoes with the platform soles. They were bright white, and I remember they had like these fleeces on. One of them had an orange and one of them had a yellow fleece. They were very bright, noticeable. As soon as they walked in, they caught my attention. So I knew exactly who they were. So I call mall security, because that is what I was always taught to do. If something happens, call mall security, because we're in an outlet center. I call mall security, I get the voicemail. So I'm like, okay, so I leave a voicemail. I need some help. Nobody comes. So now I go in the back because we have cameras. So I'm like, ooh, let me go in the back. I find the room, I find the TV, the VCR. Again, how old we are, there was VCR. There's no tape in this VCR. So I'm like, are you telling me these cameras are for show? I'm like, are you serious? Yes. These cameras are just for show? I'm like, okay. So now I don't know what to do. I'm like, these girls have stolen these shoes. They've walked out of the store. What do? The mall security's not answering. The manager not here. So my next thought is, I'm going to call the police. So I call the police, and I have the police come down because what do I know? I don't know what to do. I was like, what was I? I was like 18 at the time, 17. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? So I call the police. The police come. I explain to the police the situation. They ask, where's the management? They're on break. So they find the girls like 4 doors down. They find the girls. They get to the stuff. So by the time they come back, the managers are back. So they had to call the head guy. Yep, they let them go. They had let him go. And then my favorite is 2 days later, I'm at work and freaking mall security calls. And it was like, hey, I got a voicemail. You guys needed us? And I'm like, yeah, 2 days ago. Like, you're not helping me now. Jesus
like
Christ.
Forever and a fracking day ago, buddy.
Oh my God. I was like, please don't. It's like, now I'm prepared. If anything, if shit goes sideways, don't call for them for help because you'll die before they get to you. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, that was always the same thing. Like, whenever we had anybody in, like, was it Wally-Wood with loss prevention, it's like, if you really needed them, don't call them. Don't even try.
No.
Like, we actually had special pages that we would do. So we always knew when they were in building. Like, we knew who they were. So we had a special page that we could do. It was, calling such and so to this department. And then they would know, okay, I got to go over to that department. Mm-hmm. And there was one time that we were calling them and calling them and calling them. Oh, yeah. And no answer. They were not showing up. And okay, we know that there's 2 of them here. Mm-hmm. Because it was, at that point in time we had a guy and a girl. Okay. And they were both there. That way, the guy would follow the guys, the girl would follow the girls. In case if you had a couple of people, they would split up. Right. And, be able to follow different and get different angles on people. Yeah, it worked out pretty good. Right. So we're sitting there going, okay, well, we know they're here. Maybe they're just on lunch, whatever. So the assistant manager's like, okay, fine. you guys just try to keep an eye on stuff. Just aggressive customer service. Go down the aisles.
Right.
Like, hey, you need help? Need help find anything? I'm here to help you if you need me. I'll be right over here. I'll be cleaning up this little thing that does not need to be cleaned up, but I'm cleaning it up anyways. So I'll take care of this in case you need me. I'm right here.
Yep.
That way, make them uncomfortable, but not actually approaching them, accusing them of anything.
Exactly.
So the assistant manager goes and says, I'm going to just go watch cameras and just follow them that way. Goes over there, unlocks the room, walks into the LP room, and finds them both in there. Yeah, pants around ankles.
Oh, no!
We're like, you guys, guess what? Still in company time, you're gone.
Oh, my God. That is
Don't
hilarious.
even bother collecting your last paycheck. We'll mail it to you.
Oh, my goodness.
They're like, and everyone's like, you could, like, there's a speaker right there above your head. You
Right.
couldn't hear the page? It's like, you're going to be looking for you now.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, see, who knows what happens? Okay, so I've called them twice, and once we got a response, and then they didn't answer. Right? I found an empty box. It was apparent that the shoes had been stolen. We called, and I was like, I don't know what you want me to do, and they didn't want me to do anything. So the box ended up on my Miss Mate wall that I can reuse for later because they didn't care. The one day that I needed them to actually pay attention and look at the cameras is because I had this woman with one of our large bags in a boot box. So like if you've ever seen the boxes, the boots come in are huge, right? They're really long.
Yeah.
She had
especially like the knee high,
exactly.
calf height ones. Yeah.
Yep. So it was one of those very long boot boxes in this bag, and our area for like where our register is to where the walkway is pretty high, pretty long, but then there's like an extended area in the back where our shoe department is huge and we can't cover all of it. So she's in that further spot, I can see her, and she's looking at floor samples, and then she's sitting in the chair and she was like rummaging through the bag, and I'm thinking she could have an empty boot box in that bag and she's sticking floor samples in that box, because like not all of our floor samples are the same size. So like if she found a floor sample that was her size, she could just sit down, pretend like she's trying it on, and then put it in that box, and we would never know. So I'm watching her, but I've got customers, so I'm like, I alerted my coworker, and I'm like, we're watching. So now I'm trying to call, because we have a number, we can call them. So I'm dialing a number, it's ringing, dialing a number, ringing. I'm like, what the fuck? So then I'm calling management. I'm like, is anybody gonna answer me? Like, I'm convinced this woman is stealing, but I can't say anything. I'm like, I have to offer to help her if there's anything you need. Can I get your shoe size? She's like, no, I'm just browsing. But nobody answered me. LP didn't answer me. Management didn't answer me. And I'm like, well, she just might have walked off with I don't know how many floor samples you can fit in a boot box, but you don't want to help me. I don't know what to tell you.
You'd be surprised what you can fit in there. I was working for a chain of electronic stores. They were based in Northern California, but they were all, at that point in time, they were all through California, out to Texas, all that kind of stuff. And it was the same type of thing. It was they would have a box that they would take out whatever was inside, dump it down an aisle, shove it behind another product, whatever, and then they would stuff the box full.
Right.
We had a section that had cell phones in it.
Oh,
in that store.
Yeah.
They went over there, like the 12-inch Vornado fan.
Yes.
Okay, it was one of those boxes.
Oh.
So this thing is like about a 14 to 16-inch square box.
Right.
They were filling this thing with phones and phone accessories. They went over to the movies and put a bunch of movies in there. They went around the whole store grabbing, they had a component section that had like computer components, like for like building your own computers. They were putting power supplies, putting all this kind of stuff in there.
Jeez.
Taking things out of packaging to try to make it fit better and everything for them. And they went around the whole store, movies, software, components, books, CDs, cell phone accessories, video accessories. Like they got a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
And then they went then they actually had their own taped the box back up, which I'm not giving you ideas, anybody out there.
Right.
They had to make it look like this thing was still completely sealed.
Right.
Nobody had ever touched it. So the thing is that what would happen is at that store, if a associate wanted to get credit for a sale and possibly get commission, you had to write up a quote for the sale.
Okay.
So they actually went to an associate, got a quote written up for just the fan.
Gotcha.
Walked up, handed the quote over to the cashier. Cashier scans the barcode on it, brings up saying it was this quote, this is by this person. They paid for the fan, walked out.
With all that stuff.
And they found out that person actually walked out of that store paying about $30 for about $3,000 worth of merchandise.
Dang. That is crazy.
So, like, the box stuffers are real, but more often than not, they get caught at that door, and you'll have LPs sitting there, and they will pop that box open and go, "That ain't a fan, motherfudger." Right.
Well, that was the thing. That's what I was thinking. Like, that's why I wanted to notify them, because in every training thing, every update training thing, everything video we have to watch is one of the things they always tell you. If you see something, notify them, give them a description if you can, and they will check the cameras. And I'm like, all right. Here you go.
If you see something, say something.
Exactly. And I'm like, she is shady as shit. And I'm like, I want you people to watch her, and nothing. And I'm like, all right, fine, let her get away with the shoes. I don't care. And like that point, I'm like, I don't even care.
Yeah, at that point, you did your job. You did what you could.
Exactly. And I get sticky about it, because with a lot of the girls that I've worked with, they're like, hey, it's not my problem. They want to steal shit. It's not my thing. If I don't see it, I don't care. They don't want to get involved.
Yeah.
I get like overly protective. I don't know why. Like I have like an inner bouncer. I get real sticky about that stuff. And when I worked at Party City, it was a big thing with me. Like, there was a woman one day, I saw her putting stuff in her purse. She had one of those big, like, satchel purses, like duffel bag looking things. And I was watching her put stuff in her purse. And I didn't want to go up to her and be like, hey, you're stealing. So instead, what I did was I grabbed one of our baskets, and I walked up to her and I was like, hello, ma'am, how are you today? I said, just wanted to let you know, I said, we do have these convenient hand baskets that you can put your stuff in, so you don't have to carry them in your purse. I was like, I'll be over here if you need any help, just let me know. And I handed her the basket and I walked away. I stayed, like, I didn't walk, like, too far, but I didn't want to, like, hover around her, so I went over to, like, the other aisle, and I was, like, putzing around, and she took all the stuff out of her purse and put it in the hand basket, and then left the hand basket on the floor and ran away. I was like, it's just my way of, letting you know that I've seen what you're doing, and it's not okay. So yeah, I was always good at, we had a code for if there was somebody in the store that was conspicuous that you had to keep an eye on, there was a code that you needed to say over the walkie, and it alerted everybody in the store that this was happening, and we all went into fix-it mode. Like, we would all putz around and pretend like we were fixing and cleaning things just to keep an eye on the situation. And it had happened more than once, and I think the best one, I was new. I was maybe like 2 weeks into this job, and I always have the walkie on, but sometimes you have to take it off. Either if I'm talking to somebody, if I'm talking to a customer and people are chit-chatting through the walkie, I can't listen to both. My brain will not let me concentrate on two conversations. So I take the earpiece out so I can deal with the customer, or if I'm on the phone. So at this one, mind you, we had gotten the code that there was customers in the store. There was these two women. They had a baby in the car seat in the carriage, and they were just stockpiling frozen stuff, all the party supplies they could possibly fit into this cart. So at the time I was on the floor, so I was walking around, I approached the woman, I was talking about the baby because I love babies, so I struck up a conversation, blah, 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 asking about the party, things like that, if I could help, all that, customer service stuff. So we're watching them. So mind you, they had a cart full of stuff, and then they had a basket full of stuff. But then I got called up to the front because I had a line, so I had to go bring people out. So there was a customer at the register. There was the woman, one of the women that had the basket behind her, and then there was one other person behind. So the woman I'm dealing with at the register, she had a question about a headband. She needed me to call the other store. So again, I took my earpiece out. I called the other store. I asked the question, whatever I need to do, blah, blah, blah. Take care of that customer. Off she goes. So the woman who had the basket, she comes up with an empty cart and a basket with only a few things in it. That struck me as odd. I'm like, what happened to the copious amounts of party supplies that you had before? So I'm like, okay, so now I'm like, I got that weird feeling of something's not right. So now I'm trying to be like, oh, I said, you didn't want any of that other things, did you find everything okay? And now I'm looking around me, like, because before there was like 2 of the managers were up front, one of the other, cashiers was around, and now I'm like, there's nobody here. Like, there's not a single associate manager. Why am I by myself? Because something's wrong. My gut is like, the situation is off, and there's nobody to be had. So I don't know what to do. Like, I have no idea how to handle the situation. So I'm trying to just talk to this woman in the conversation to just try to, until somebody shows up, and I start ringing her out and, just like trying to chit chat with her to prolong the transaction. And finally, one of the managers walks in and tells her, "You need to wait. The cops have been called." And I'm like, "What the hell?" Apparently, the reason I took the headphone out because I was on the phone, but they were having an entire conversation. Apparently, the other woman who had the baby took all that stuff in a bag or in the basket with the baby and ran out the door. My GM followed her, and then my assistant followed him, and so they're all outside and they're talking through the walkie. I had no idea any of this was happening because I was on the phone with one of the other stars. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Cops show up. My GM followed her all the way down the street to like the bank. Like he followed her. Like she just kept running. He just followed her down the street. It was ridiculous.
So the question for that one was the baby an actual baby?
Yes, it was. And that's because that's how they got out of it, because they were not arrested and taken to jail at that moment because they had the baby and they claimed they didn't have anybody to come and get the baby or whatever. So because it was, I guess there has to be a certain amount. Like if it was over
a certain dollar amount,
if it was a certain amount, they would have they would have called CPS to take the baby. They would have taken him in. But because it was under a certain amount, they let them go on a promise to appear because they had the baby. So they used the baby as a way to get out of being arrested. Also, they stuffed things under the baby because you can't search the baby. Like there's something like that. Like there was some weird shit like that. But the baby.
I had one time when it was a very similar thing, and again this is at Wally World because that was the big chunk of customer service time that I've had. It was a stroller with what appeared to be a baby in there.
Okay.
But it turned out what it was is they had actually walked into the store with an empty stroller, piled a bunch of stuff inside there, went over into the toy area, got a baby doll.
Oh my God.
Took it out of the packaging, put it in the stroller on top of everything, covered up with a blanket, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
And then tried to walk out the door. And I was up there at customer service or something. I was hearing all this stuff going down with LP as we're talking to him. They're like, we have to applaud you on this one. This was actually a pretty ingenious little plot that you had right here. But people don't walk in with just an empty stroller. Come on, like you had us tipped from the beginning here.
Yep.
Once again, we're not giving you any ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Our disclaimer for this whole thing: we're talking about loss prevention stuff, people stealing stuff. You will get caught. Okay. It's not the first time, the second time, and it is not a game. Is not something to be trying to prove you can do better than anybody else.
Yeah, no. And the weirdest thing...
It can ruin your entire life. And Jill, screw you for that earthworm tasting bean there. That was gross.
Oh, no! Ew.
I can still taste it.
Ew! Well, one of the craziest things is... Oh crap! My brain just stopped. You said Bean Boozle, and I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
Oh, the ingenious behind some of these people, though. Like the thing is, some of these people are so smart, and they come up with things that I would have never ever imagined. And I'm like, if you could harness that brain power for good, you could do such amazing things. Like, okay, so. One of the stores that I worked at, I'm not going to say which one now because I don't want anybody to try this, like you said. We would give e-receipts and paper receipts. So somebody discovered that if you have the e-receipt and you give the paper receipt to somebody else and you go to different locations, if you can manage to get to the register and do the return at the same time, it doesn't trigger. So if I spend $300 on stuff, and then I give you the e-receipt, or I give you the paper receipt, and I have the e-receipt, and you go to one location and I go to the other, and we're on the phone and make sure that we're at the line at the same time, if you and I both do that return, you get $300, I get $300. Now we've made $300. How did you figure that out? What? My brain is not, like I would have never even thought of that.
Yeah, we had a similar program over at Wally where it's like if you could actually like catch somebody in the act of an internal theft, then you would get money for it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they. I think I've heard that there's something that here too where I am now, but like I said, if you actually need them when something's happening, they don't answer you. So I guess we'll never find out.
Yeah, it was very specific. Like it had to be like helping catch an internal thing,
right?
In order to get the extra money. Like you couldn't catch it, an external, thief thing because that was actually, it was not allowed, for us to do anything, along those lines. Like if we caught, suspected somebody of something, it was always just the aggressive customer service thing. I hated that phrase too.
Yeah.
The aggressive customer service. Here, I'm gonna come over and annoy the crap out of you because I think you're being pretty darn shady.
Right.
That's all it was.
Yeah. I mean, that was a bigger company. Like, this is the first really big company that I've ever worked for like that. Every place I've ever worked has been a small store. So this is the first, like I said, this is the first big company that has an LP department. Like, we never had an LP department. Like I said, when I was at Party City, I was the LP department. That's why I had the ability to go up and tell that woman, without telling her, like, hey, I saw you put that shit in your purse. Like, I saw you stealing, don't do it. I can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I could do that because there wasn't a loss prevention department. Like, we were it. We were the front line of, stopping the shrink. So if I saw you doing something, I'm going to say something.
The same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I had the same thing at every small place I was at.
Yep. Like I actually created a position for Halloween. We made sure that there was somebody at the door. We had a greeter that stood in a specific spot because every year we had the hot what are those helium tanks on the wall. We had the big ones and the small ones. Store wasn't that big. We didn't have a lot of space for them. So right there by the register leading out is where we stored them, where we stacked them. And every year during Halloween, exactly. And the thing is, during Halloween, it's so busy and we're so focused on all the people in the store that it's hard to pay attention to things like that. And there was this one woman who would come every year and she would wait until the line was big and there was a lot of people in the store and she would grab a helium tank and run right out the door. So we actually created a greeter and we made them stand in a specific spot so they were in between the entrance and the exit. We made them stand directly in that corner. So when somebody came in, they would hand them the basket, do the whole whatever the spiel was that year. Hand them a basket, ask them if they need anything, direct them in that way. And then when people would leave, they would, thank you for shopping with us, have a great day, blah, blah, blah. So you could watch both doors and you were standing right in that spot, So therefore, it's eliminated that you can just run out the door because now somebody's standing right there and they're talking to every single person that walks in and walks out of the store. That was their only job. They never helped out on the floor. They didn't have to recover any aisles. They were never on the register. Their main job was to stand there, greet the people that came in and give them a basket, say goodbye to the people that were leaving. That was their only job. Just because, they were to stop the thieves from running out of the store with certain things.
Yeah, we had the same type of thing at a couple of small places I was at, especially the college bookstore during the rush time when everybody's coming in getting their their supplies, their books, their Scantrons, their pens, their everything. Because we actually had two entrances. We had one that was at the front of the store, and we actually had a side entrance, which was actually right next to my desk.
Okay.
But we actually would have somebody at the side entrance door by my desk just to make sure that door stayed closed. So they'd be over there just doing some random project just to make sure that stayed closed. But then they also had perfect eyesight right there on all the art supplies. So the canvases, the paints, the special pencils, all the stuff you need for all your art classes.
Right.
But then we had the person up at the front of the store, the front entrance, because that was where you had like all the registers. Because we actually we had like 4 dedicated registers, but we would then open up. That was always my job. I always had to like bring out the equipment, set it all up, network it up.
Okay.
Which me being the IT guy, that's just naturally coming to me for that one.
Right.
But I would set up another 4, 5, 6, 7, about another 9 registers.
Nice.
I would set up out there. 1 for buyback, another 8 more for the sales.
Right.
But we had to make sure we had somebody over there. In the buyback station, nobody'd ever buy back during rush time because you're not selling your textbooks at that point. You're buying textbooks.
Right.
But just in case there was that person who said, I have this old book I want to sell back and get some money to buy my new books.
Right.
We had the station there. But their main job was just to watch the front door, make sure anybody coming in with a backpack left it at the door, at the special little table area we had set up, and would just be the eyes over there to make sure nobody would just like walk in, stuff a bag, and walk out.
Right. Yep.
But all that buyback time though, that was a crazy time because we had to make sure we had every single aisle for textbooks blocked off.
Oh.
Because otherwise somebody would go in, grab textbooks off the shelf, walk over to a buyback station, and then sell them back to us.
Right.
And we had multiple people try that.
Yep.
And it's like one person came up, it was like a brand new book, still sealed in the plastic. And they're like, "Yeah, I bought this book, but I never used it. So can I just return it?" We're like, and the person was new. They're like, "Well, no, you can sell it back, and you'll get the used book price because it's still in perfect condition. You're gonna get the most we can give you for a used book." Right. And they're like, "But I never used it." And then like one of the managers walked over, like, "Yeah, because you just grabbed that off the shelf. I watched you."
Yep.
So you really didn't use it.
Yeah, I love those people that try to do that. I had a customer try to return a shirt that she clearly stole because we have little QR stickers that we put on everything. They're return stickers, so we have to scan it. So we scan the barcode and we scan these little QR stickers. Some of the clothes come with 2 barcodes, so we don't need the sticker. But if it only has the 1 barcode, we put the sticker on. So this woman comes up to me and has this shirt, and she's like, the shirt didn't fit. I need to return it. But you don't have a receipt. Do you have the card to pay with it on? No, I paid in cash. Of course you did. Okay. So I'm like, I'm looking at the tag, and none of the tags have the sticker on it. So I'm like, I said that there's like 3 tags on this shirt, and I was like, none of them have this little sticker. We have a return sticker we usually put on these. She looks at me and she goes, "Oh yeah, I think they pulled that one off." So they tried on the shirt and they only removed 1 tag and left the other 3 on there, and then tried it on and then didn't realize it didn't fit. I'm like, no. So now the problem is with our store, you can do a return without receipt. It does scan it at the lowest price that it's sold at that moment and then sends you a merchandise credit to your house. So this a lot of time deters people because because I'm in the shoe department, so the shoes will ring up at like $10 and they're like, I paid more, I paid like $50. Yeah, well, this is what they're ringing up now. And they don't like the fact that it's going to be a merchandise credit to their house because they have to give me their license, I have to put in all their information, and they don't like that. So that when they're trying to steal, that usually deters them from that. So she was convinced because the thing was when I scanned it, the shirt came up $24. I'm like, I'm not giving this woman $24 for the shirt that she just stole. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm like, now I'm getting sticky about it. Like, that's not my money. I don't care. Like, what do I care? But I care because it's just wrong. So I finally got a hold of a manager that I knew was not going to let her get away with this, and I had her come and tell her no, that she could not return the shirt. I'm like, because they get sticky about certain things, and the management around here will just do whatever. I've seen them do returns that I'm like, are you serious right now that you just gave this person all that money back? Like, why? But certain things I just get, I'm like, no. You stole this shirt. I'm not giving you any money for this. Not even if you're like, okay, I'll take the merchandise credit. No, not doing it. People laugh at me. They're like, why do you care? I'm like, I don't know, because it's the principle of it, I guess. So it gets on my nerves. Always want something for nothing.
Oh, Joel just did the bean.
Oh, jeez.
It was either butter popcorn, or rotten egg, and that ended up being rotten egg.
Oh, so you got earthworm backed up with a rotten egg. Ooh, you are not winning tonight. Yuck.
Hey, I rolled a 1 on my initiative for this whole stream here, so it's like either the stream's gonna go belly up or the beans gonna go belly up. One or the other. It's the beans.
It's the beans. Thank God it's the. Well, I don't know if it's thank God it's the beans. I mean, I want the stream to go belly up, but
I'd rather have the beans go be bad. That's something. To be honest with you. Yeah, like with the people coming in doing the returns like that. That's when they actually, for me at least, they've gone full Karen on me.
Oh yeah.
They're like, well, I want to see the manager because I did this. I want this, and I want my money back right now. It's like, I'm just working the return. I gotta go with what the policy says right here in front of me on the computer. The computer will let me do one thing.
Yep.
Like we had one person. She came in, and she was trying to return something, but it was something that was like, oh Lord, I know you probably experienced the same exact thing, but it was something that was like years old.
Yep.
And then it was like, no, sorry, I can't return this for you. Well, I bought it here. I'm like, yeah, it says on the tag here, it's old. It's old. You can't return that. It's not even sold here anymore because it's like 2, 3, 10 years old, whatever.
Yep.
And then like the people who come in and be like, well, I bought this here. It's like, it says Target.
Well, yeah, I had a woman return a pair of shoes. She swore that she just bought them, but she had obviously worn them. So I'm like, we cannot return these shoes. We don't return shoes that are worn. And she's like, well, I did not, blah, 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 but they're only, blah, 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 whatever. So I scan it, and it says it's past the return date. It's 90 days past the return policy. So she's like, I just bought these recently, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, ma'am, I said, I don't know what to tell you. I said, the system's telling me this isn't past the return policy. I look at the receipt. These shoes were purchased in 2019. What? So I look at her, and I'm looking at the receipt, and I look at her, and I said, ma'am, I said, you bought these in 2019. Oh, that must be the wrong receipt. No, because it matches the shoe. If that was the wrong receipt, there's a box that pops up and says, item does not match receipt. Like there's so many boxes that pop up that tell me what's happening. Yeah. Everything has a box. It found the match. The shoes match the receipt. Mm-hmm. It's just past the return policy because it's 2019. I was like, no, I'm not taking these back. I'm I'm not calling the manager because I'm like, no, I'm not taking these back. 2019.
We had the same thing with our stuff. Where we had the added manual step on the whole thing. Like the computer would match up and say, is this receipt good? Is it valid? Is this item even on the receipt? It would do all those checks for us, but then we actually had to go on and find the item manually, physically on the receipt, circle the line that it was, right on there, RTN and the date and our initials.
Oh, okay.
So that no matter what, you can go and grab the same item again and try to return it type thing. So we did that.
Right.
But if we had something like that pop up, there was like, oh, this is out of date. We would actually write at the top of the receipt, out of date, no returns.
See, they don't have us do anything.
Oh, well, we actually took that upon ourselves a lot of times because that was pissed them off even more.
Right.
But they were like, hey, you can't return anything on this. It's way past the time frame for it. Like, one person, they brought in, like, rotten food.
Ew.
Because we sold food at that location. We were a superstore. Mm-hmm. So they came in, it was like lunch meat or something like that. It was all like warm and moldy and gross. And we're like, why did you just not throw this out? Like, I bought it like this. I want to get my money. Like, you did not buy it like that. Who in their right mind would pick up warm, moldy lunch meat and buy it?
You're right.
If that's you, who would do that?
There's something wrong with you. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'll send you a phone number of people you can call. They'll help you get past that, okay?
Right.
Because no. Gross. I'm purposefully waving the Death Eater wand at that one there, okay? We will send you help. It won't be...
Yeah,
but
no.
It'll be help.
That's so weird. Yeah, see, I don't have to deal with food, so I'm lucky that way.
Oh, those were always the worst ones.
I can't even imagine.
Food and everything. We wanted Oh, it's Severus Snape's wand. Here you go. We'll wave Severus's wand at you here. We'll get you help.
Yeah.
Yeah, the food side of things, that was the major nutso side.
Yeah.
Because, like, people, like you think people are bad, and it's like, I know you've told us stories like, hey, I want this shoe, but I want it in this size, or do you have this size? And go full Karen on you about, not having the right size and everything, or the style that they want in their size or whatever. In like the clearance markdown shoes, all that kind of stuff, or whatever it is. Like, we would have people, and there's actually a guy on he's on TikTok and Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, all that kind of stuff. He actually makes fun of this kind of Karen person. Well, they'll come in and be like, you need to carry this thing right here. Yeah. And it needs to be put in this particular place away from this particular item because I don't like that item, I'm allergic to that item. It's like, we're not rearranging the whole store for you.
Yeah, right.
It's like we already rearrange the store 15 times a day anyways just to piss off everybody else coming in. But it was here last time I was here. Well, no, now it's over there 10 aisles over. Have fun. But
oh yeah, see,
my wife was so mad about that one.
I haven't had anybody tell me how the store should be set up or that we should have something, but I have had people that come to me and say, I was here last week and I saw a shoe in your clearance section and it's not there anymore. Where is it?
Someone bought it.
It's a $10 shoe. I'm pretty sure they bought it already. Like, we have a pair. Okay, we have a pair of Uggs that are on sale for $40. Where are you ever going to find Uggs for $40? These boots are selling like crazy. I just had 2 women almost duke it out over this boot. I actually legitimately walked away. I called management because I'm like, listen, this is about to blow the fuck up. So this woman comes to me. Now mind you, okay, so let me set up the scenario. Sunday, I was in the back all day Sunday pulling the Last Act shoes. So to do the Last Act, I pull the right shoe out. I put the sticker on it with the size. It goes out on the rack. The left one stays in the box, and they have little stickers, little yellow stickers on them. So anybody who knows there's only one shoe in this box. I spent the entire day in this one section pulling Last Act shoes, okay? I was off on Monday. I came in on Tuesday. This woman has the boot. I was like, I saw this boot. I pulled this boot. Like, I know this boot. So she had a 6.5. She wanted a 7.5. Now, I keep telling people, everything we have is out on the floor. You find me your match. Yeah. You find me your size, and I have the match in the back. Nobody gets that concept. Everybody's like, do you have a different size? And I'm like, and if I do, the other one's going to be on the floor. Like, I'm going to have one shoe in a box. Like, you're going to have to go find the other shoe. It's just a thing, but nobody seems to get that. So I go in the back to look to see if there's any other sizes. There's not a single box on this rack. I'm like, holy shit, they sold out of every... Now, I'm not surprised. Uggs for $40. They were cute boots. No. I don't even like Uggs. I hate Uggs. I've never owned Uggs, but these boots were kind of cool. Like, I was almost like, hey, if I had $40, I might buy this shoe. So I'm thinking, they sold out of them yesterday. It's possible. There were, $40 Uggs. So there's not a box back there. But the thing was, I didn't have the match to the 6.5 that she had, which was odd. Like, there should be... That box should have been back there. Like, I don't understand. If they sold out of all the shoes, cool, but why do I have this one boot, not a box? So I hand her back the shoe, and I'm like, I have no idea where these. I know where the boots are supposed to be. They were there the other day, and I don't know where this box is, so I don't know where the other shoe is. So she's like, all right, maybe it's on the rack. Cool. She's gonna go look for it. 3 minutes later, this other woman comes up with a box, and it's the same boot, but she has a 7.5. So I'm like, where the hell did that box come from? I'm like, I'm so confused right now. So I'm like, all right, but she's looking for the right shoe, which should be out on the rack because the right ones have the sticker that are on the rack. So I'm like, let me go look for this boot. So I'm walking around with the box in my hand, and I'm walking up and down the aisles, and I turn the corner, and I realize that my manager has taken boots from the back and put them along the wall. And my stomach turns because I'm like, I hate when they put boots out on the wall. Like, I hate when they pull boxes of boots or boxes of any shoe out on the wall. Yeah. But there's a wall full of Ugg boots, and I'm like, oh my God. So here's the woman. Now there is the woman that 3 minutes ago I was talking to with the 6.5 shoe. She's like, I found the box. She goes, but I found the 7.5 I want. And I'm like, shit. So I said, actually, ma'am, I said, I have a customer, I have the box. I said, a customer brought me that box. She needs that 7.5. She goes, but I wanted the 7.5. She goes, I have this shoe. I was like, I said, yeah, I kind of need that shoe for them. She goes, no. She goes, I have the shoe.
No shoe.
God. So I'm like, okay. So I walk up back to the front and I put the box down on the counter. And I'm looking at this woman and her daughter, and I was like, well, I said, a customer has the other 7.5 and she is refusing to give it up, and I don't know what to do. So the woman looks at me, she goes, well, then hold on to this for like an hour and we'll be back. And I'm like, no, I'm calling a manager and they're going to deal with this. I will be right back.
Yeah.
So I call my manager and I'm like, dude, you got to come deal with this. And I said to her, I said, listen, I never ever use color to describe a situation, because the color of somebody's skin usually doesn't play into anything ever in my brain. But the fact that the woman that had the shoe was black and the woman that had the box was white, I could see it going that way, because there have been instances where they've turned it into a racial issue. So I needed her to, I felt that I needed to let her be aware of this just in case. So if it blew up, she knew to keep it neutral. You know what I mean? Like, because I was like, this could turn badly. So I want you to be aware. I said, but this is above my pay grade. You need to deal with these people because they're about to duke it out over this fucking boot. I am not getting involved in this one single bit. And she's like, shit. I'm like, yep, good luck. Like, at that point it was exclamation mark, luck, good luck, no doubt. And I sent her on her way. So when I finally went back out there, I guess the woman that had the boot, the single boot, got the 7.5, and they let her buy it and walk away. And then my manager sat with the other couple and helped them find boots and gave them a $25 coupon for their time or whatever. And I was like, that is the first time in my entire career that I have ever almost watched somebody duke it out over a freaking shoe.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Like Joel actually just commented a little bit ago. He said he worked at Burlington, and people are bringing stuff in from Ross and want their money back over there. It's like it happens everywhere. Oh, yeah. It's crazy what people will do. But it's funny that you're talking about people duking it out over shoes. Black Friday. Oh man, I have seen so many crazy things with that one there.
Oh, I can't imagine.
The first one though is like. It was my very first Black Friday working at a big box store. Okay. And I opened that one, because that was when we actually had the doors open at like 6 a.m. or whatever it was. And people have been out there, they've been camping out, and they're going crazy out there. Right. Busting down the doors, all that kind of stuff. This is before the whole trampling thing in New York. Okay. So they actually had like the wall of people walking down, or running down, I should say. Mm-hmm. And I was back in the far back corner of the store. So like people here on my screen here, okay? Like we'll say over here. Over here is the front doors that they came in at, okay? Actually, we'll do over here. This is where the front doors are they're coming in at. I'm all the way back here, like this top corner over here in the sporting goods area. And I'm just working a register. That's all I'm doing. Just ringing people up. That's my entire day. I happen to step out, look down the aisle real quick, and I kid you not, it was a wall of people. Oh my God. Just flowing down the aisle. And there was full-on TVs flying from one side of the aisle to the other, being caught and slammed down into a shopping cart.
Oh my God.
Like, it was crazy. But we had these 4-foot by 4-foot box displays, just like dump bin displays in the middle of the aisles there. And this is where the punching matches would be at, is at these box displays.
The dump bins are the scariest.
Yep. I saw fist fights starting off over video games, which, they're a little bit pricey. $60 games, now marked down to like $30. I can see that a little bit there. People would start fist fights over $5 towels.
Oh my God.
Bath towels. Full on bloody fist fights. It's like, are you serious? This isn't even Egyptian cotton. This is Walmart craft style ones you can get for like $5 all year round. This has to be a dumping full in there.
Was it
Black Friday special.
Like yeah, right.
It's like,
oh, that's funny.
Really? You're gonna get in a fight over this? You're gonna go, like, we now have to throw away half of these towels because they have your blood on them.
Right.
and they're falling, like rolling on the floor, punching each other, and it's like, Mary, get her, Susan, no, look out! Don't.
Right.
We just paid $5,000 for that nose. It's like, it's a towel. Yeah. Really, it's a towel.
You know, that's the funny thing. So now I've never worked at a store like that where they had Black Friday sales. So like, mind you, I worked at Party City. People would come in and be like, you don't have a Black Friday sale? We're a fucking party store. No. Like no. And then
come in and get your $5 plates for your dinner later.
Right?
That's it.
It's like, what? And then even at Game Exchange, when I worked at Game Exchange, we had Black Friday sales, but nothing, they weren't spectacular. They weren't like stand outside in a line and beat people up for it. Our sales were crap. And even we were like, dude, these sales suck. Like, nobody wants to buy the shit that you're putting on sale. Like, the good stuff that people would want was not on sale. The stuff that was in the Black Friday sale, nobody wanted because our boss was just trying to get rid of it. So they're like, hey, let's use Black Friday for that. So, like, I've never had that, like, where people wanted to kill each other over these items before. So like I said, this was a first for me to have people like duking it out over these items, over the shoe was like astounding me. Because even here, like I worked in the store I'm in, they had Black Friday sales, but I don't work in the department that really calls for that. You know, people aren't buying shoes for Black Friday, you know, so the rest of the store dealt with that crap. We didn't have to deal with that. So so that was a first for me.
One of my last Black Fridays that I worked in retail, it was hilarious. Like being at Wally World, you'll get the ad, you'll have the thing in there saying, "Hey, we have XYZ cell phones. Mm-hmm. It's gonna, we're gonna be selling them for Black Friday. You sign up for a new 2-year plan back when they actually had 2-year plans, and you'll get the phone for X amount off or free or whatever it may be."
Right.
But then it's always like, okay, you have to, sign up for the plan right there. You have to have approved credit right there. You have to, actually have the phone in stock. Like, it was like, you're going to be having to, actually have the product there. Right. And even said at the very bottom of the thing, while supplies last, not every store has every item, da-da-da-da-da-da. So, like, this lady comes in and she's like, well, I can't remember what phone it was that came out at that point in time. I want to say it was the iPhone 10.
Okay.
It was either that one or maybe like the one before that. Anyways, it was an iPhone is what she wanted. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, I want to get this one, and I want these colors, and it has to be this carrier. So I'm like, okay, let me check my records here, see if I actually have those phones in those colors for that carrier, because I can't guarantee it until I check my records. Mm-hmm. I check it through, I'm checking through, I'm like, okay, I don't have those. Right. What do you mean you don't have? I physically don't have them. I have this phone and this phone in these colors for that carrier, but I don't have that phone and that phone in those colors for that carrier. Right. Well, you have to have it. You said it in your ad. You're going to have these. No. Right here. Limited stock, limited quantities, differs by store, blah, 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 blah. Has all the fine print and everything. No one ever looks at or reads. Yep. She's like, well, I want to talk to your manager about this. It's like, okay, fine. We'll bring the manager over. Mm-hmm. But in case, we don't have them, do you still want to go and get these? Right. Other phones I have that are the colors you want is not necessarily the phone you want. Right. Because it's not even for you, it's for like your grandkids or whatever. Yep. She's like, blah, 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 blah. Starts going off on me, yelling at me, all Karen like. Manager comes over and he's like, well, what's the problem? She's like, you don't have this and these colors and you're this carrier. They're like, yeah, we know we don't. But you're supposed to, it's Black Friday. It's like, no. Well, every store's supposed to have these. Like, no. And like, we even went through the whole process where there's like, we get the phones in like a week beforehand. We set them aside, saying this is our special Black Friday stuff. It's not touched until today when it comes out of a lockup and goes into our our other lockup. So this is what we got. Yep. She gets all like huffy and like storms off, and like, okay, cool, she's gone. Next customer comes up, they're like, we're not gonna be like her. We'll take the other ones for the carrier, no problem. They have the same carrier, but they want those colors. Right. And they're like, we'll take the other phones because they're good phones and they're cheap. We'll take them. Right. So we're going through the whole process, and it's like, it gets to the point of, okay, now we got to do the whole credit check on you now because that was the thing you had to do. I don't know if you have to do that now, but you had to do it then.
Okay.
And it didn't pass.
Oh,
so they
no.
couldn't even. They couldn't even get the phones anyways
Oh,
because
jeez.
they couldn't get to start a new contract, new line.
Oh no.
So then they started going all Karen on me. I'm like, it's not my fault that your credit sucks.
I know, right?
Not my fault.
That's on you,
Leave me
dude.
alone.
I love that.
And then
Oh, no.
right there at that moment, Karen number one comes back with the store manager.
God. Oh.
They're like, she's saying that you're refusing to sell her phones. We're like, no.
Oh my God, I love that.
I have these. I actually hold the phones up. I'm like, this is what I have for the carrier she wants.
Yep.
She doesn't want these. She wants what I don't have. And the store manager looks at her like, you didn't tell me that part of things.
Yep.
Get out of here.
Exactly. Oh my God. I love that. Yeah, go ahead and lie and claim something. It's like,
Karens always
Yeah.
do that.
You know, it's funny because there was an instance when I handled a situation improperly. So we had a sale. We had a buy one get one sale at Party City, and it went on for like a week, and then the sale ended, and we cleaned up all the signage, blah blah blah. So this woman comes in, and she's got all this stuff, and she rings it out, and then she gets mad because it's not buy one get one. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I said that sale is over. I said, it ended, a couple days ago, whatever. I said, so everything's ringing up full price. I said, did you want to still go through with the transaction, or do you want me to void some of the stuff out, or whatever? And she was like, this is ridiculous. You should honor it. And I'm like, I don't know. It does. I was like, we don't manually change the prices. I said, when there's a sale, it comes down through corporate. They ring up buy one get one, like it comes up automatically. It's like we don't change the prices of it, so I don't think I can, And so she was like, this is ridiculous, whatever. And she pays for the stuff and she leaves. Fine. So I was talking about it to, I guess she came back. First she came back in and she pulled, I guess they had missed one of the signs, and she pulled the sign and she brought it to me. And she was like, see, it says here. So I took the sign from her and I looked and I was like, yes, ma'am. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I didn't realize they missed one. I said, but see on here, it said it ended on this date. I was like, and I showed her at the bottom where the date was ended. I was like, and she was like, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And so she leaves. So I'm like, okay. So I said, I told everybody, I said, do a sweep and make sure that, mind you, we're standing at the front, like right in the front part where the door is. Yeah. And I was like, I gathered all the employees and the other managers, and I said, there's one sign left. I said, let's make sure there's no more signs. I was like, spread out, walk each aisle, check each section, make sure there's no more signs. So we're having like a little powwow in the front right there, just trying to make sure, like I'm just delegating what to do. So the woman comes back in to put her cart away, and she sees me standing there talking to all these people about the sign. She gets fucking pissed. She looks at me and she's like, you're so disrespectful. I can't believe it. This is the worst customer service I've ever seen. And she storms out. And I look at her, and then I look at the other managers, and I'm like, what the fuck is she talking about? Like, because mind you, I'm just trying to make sure that there's no more signs so this doesn't happen again. So I'm like, okay, so she leaves, so we go through the store and we make. She calls corporate. Corporate then calls my GM. So my GM pulls me into the office and she asks me to explain what happened. So I explained to her what happened, and I called one of my associates in that was with me the whole time. I had him come in and I was like, this is what happened. And I went through the entire story. My GM says, well, this woman called and said that she came in and saw the sign and expected to half off. You refused to give it to her. When she showed you the sign, you snatched it out of her hand. And then when she came back to put her cart away, you were standing there talking about her to everybody in the store. My coworker, Charlie, loses his shit. He's like, snatched the sign? Snatched the sign. He goes, oh yeah, just Laura. She's gonna snatch a sign away from anybody? Like, seriously? Like, he loses his mind. I'm like, Charlie, calm down. It's fine. Just calm down. Like, it's like, even my GM knows me. Like, these people, I've worked with them for years. I was friends with my GM. Like, she knows how I am. She knows how I am with customers, that I would never snatch a sign out of somebody's hand. And so I was like, she handed me me the sign. I said, she showed me the sign. I took the sign from her so I could look at it. I said, I showed her and that was where I was wrong. I shouldn't have pointed out the date of the ending. I should have, because she had the sign, I should have honored the half off. All right, my bad. I just thought I was doing the right thing. Whatever. I said, and then I told her, I said, I wasn't talking about her to the employees. I said, I was telling them that she found a sign, so there were still signs left, and we needed to find any to remove them so this wouldn't happen again. It's like, I was not standing there talking shit about her. She's claiming that I was doing. Oh my God, it was so my coworker was so livid though that she claimed that I snatched this sign out of her hand. He was beyond pissed.
I don't know if it's the same thing out here, but I know in California at least, it is actually part of the like consumer rights laws and everything they have out there, that if they find any sign at all that's still up, saying, hey, there's a sale going on, doesn't matter if it's ended or not, doesn't matter, the date could be 10 feet tall, saying this is when the sale ends, and it could be past that date. But like, it was out, as I working out there, it was, according to the law, we had to abide by that lowest shown price.
Okay.
So even if it was just like, the shelf tag was, not properly changed out when we did a price change, we had to honor that price. If the sale price popped up and said, hey, this thing's on sale for, $20, normal price $50, even if the $50 price tag is still sitting there, the sign could be this saying $20, ending, July 17th, 1999. We'd still have to honor it today and give it to them for that price. Right.
See, I don't know the law. I don't even, to be honest, I don't even know the law in Connecticut, because I know more laws in Connecticut than I do here in Michigan, but I don't know about that kind of law. I know with ours, like, okay, so sometimes we didn't do price changes right, or if somebody didn't want to do the price changes, they didn't change them or whatever. Yeah. So if it was the same thing, like if you came up with an item that was $50 and it rang up 20, and I would, or if it was but whatever, if it said 20 on the tag but it rang up 50. If I went to the hook and every item on that hook was the same, and that ticket said the item, whatever that price was, I would give it to you. Even if it was a $50 item, but that tag said $20, and this was what it was marked as, the name on the ticket was the item that was there, I would honor that price. If it was on the wrong hook, no, because people move shit around, and I'm not going to give you a $50 item for $20 because somebody put it on the wrong hook. But if the hook was wrong, yes. And the headers we used to have the plastic headers that would snap off. So I would walk over to the aisle, I would double check it, and then if it was wrong, I'd snap that header right off and then make sure that price change was done before I ever put that header back out. But like that thing, I don't know the law if the sign is up, if they see a sign that we would have to. Like I said, I was told, yes, if they find a sign, we should honor it, but I wasn't aware of that. So like I said, that's what I got reprimanded for, because I should have given her the stuff for half off. My bad. I didn't know. Yeah, I thought I was doing it right.
When you mentioned the item being in the wrong place thing, my wife was actually in a Wally World store, and she found a stereo. Okay. That she liked. It was had like the detachable speakers, the door for the CD tray that would like slide up, put your CD in, the door would slide back down. It was really cool looking. And she's like, hey, this is sitting here. It's like $20. Right. Cool. This is normally like a $60 thing. Cool. Whatever. I like this. She takes it up there. It rings up 60. She's like, it was in $20 spot back there in electronics. And they're like, well, now it's ringing up 60. Somebody probably just picked it up, put it down because they wanted something else. And my wife's like, okay, cool, yeah, no problem, but I don't care. Right. I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna fight you on it because my husband works for the store. Whatever. I don't care. Right. It wasn't that particular. It was a different one, but still same. Same retail chain. Yep. So. And like we've been in there a whole lot of times. People in there knew me, and they knew that that I worked for the company and all that kind of stuff. So, they're like, yeah, there's some inside thing you're trying here. So it's like, no. Right. It's I agree with you. It's probably just put down by a customer in the wrong spot. Cool, whatever. Right. So, my wife she's walking around the store with a friend, and the Joel's little thing finish here. Oh. So. My wife's just walking around the store with her friend, and they see an associate carrying that same speaker from the go back area back to the department, and the associate puts it back in the $20 spot. The associate put it back, same exact spot, under the wrong price tag. So my wife's like, the store did it. So she goes, she picks it up, carries it back up. She's like, I just watched your associate go put this back in the wrong spot. And they're like, well, your husband probably put him up to this. And she's like, he's not even working here. He's been off for like the last week.
Right.
Because, we have, got family stuff, going on. He's been taking vacation time. So obviously there's no way this can happen.
Right.
And she's like, Tom was like, I want it for this price now because obviously store mistake. I know how the store works. Store mistake. You got to give it to me for this price.
Yep.
And they're fighting her saying, no. Manager comes over. They're like, tell you what, I'll go check cameras. If I can see that an associate just goes and picks stuff up, goes from customer service to the department and puts it down in the wrong spot, cool, you can have it.
Right.
That's exactly what the manager saw. She walks out and she's like, give it to her for the price. Tell this associate to come to my office right now.
Oh, yeah.
And there's other times I'm like, my wife, she made sure she did not swipe discount card, nothing. It was just, I'm just going to pay the straight money here, don't whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That is so
stereo,
funny.
though. We had that stereo for at least like 6 years.
Nice.
I love that. That thing was awesome. The sound that was nice.
That's so funny. Yeah, people would always try that. Like, for some reason, Party City would like to have this clearance table, so they would make these boxes, and they would try all sorts of different things, the price tags and the colored stickers, and they would try everything to try to keep it organized, and it was always a freaking mess, because it's always a mess when you just put shit out in a box. I hate it. Every store I've read it, stop putting shit in a box and just leaving it out for people to go through. It never ends well. So people would try to come up with like a $10 item. It was in the dollar box. No, because we had like little colored stickers, like the $1 was pink, the $5 was blue, the whatever, like the different numbers were like different colors. So they all had these little stickers on them. So if it didn't have a colored sticker, it wasn't from the box. So I'm like, you can't, somebody just put it in there, you can't do that. So they would always try to do that. What happens now though, like what I hate even more, see, because like every item in Party City, all the items had barcodes on them. None of them had prices on the actual item. They were on the headers. That's why people would come up and try to claim it was a different price, because there was no price on the actual item. In the store now, we don't have, like, the shoes that are out, the display shoes that are out have stickers on the bottom, and they have the prices on the sticker. And then we have all the boxes in the back, obviously. Except our clearance shoes, just the right one is out there with a sticker on the bottom that have the price on it, and then we have the other shoe in the back. So every time they put just boxes of shoes out, it's a mess. So we have what we call the bunker. There is like 1, 2, I think there's like 3 just bins on each side with individual, like, so it's 1, 2, 3, so it's like 3 bins on each side, and then there's 3 rows of them. And they put the display shoes on top, and then all the boxes are in the bin. So whenever somebody would come up with a shoe and it said 500, I would let them know we don't have those shoes in the back. Those are all the boxes that are out there are what we have. We don't have anything in the back, so that whatever's there is there. The problem is people are disgusting. People are messy, people are sloppy, they just pull all the shoes out, try them on, leave them all over the place. So none of these shoes are ever in the box. And mind you, we don't have enough staff to cover the floor like we're supposed to. That's why people get mad. If you watch my retail stories on YouTube or TikTok, you see that, like, people get mad at us because they have to wait in line to get a shoe. There's nobody on the floor helping them because we don't have the staff to run the registers and man the floor at the same time. So there's, like I said, the area of our department is huge, so that we don't have enough people to be out on the floor cleaning. And God forbid you try, because if you've watched my stories, you know what it means to be a fucking French fry. And as soon as I step out on the floor, you get attacked by like 40 people with shoes. And I swear to God, I've been in retail since I was 17 years old. And I have no job has ever triggered my anxiety as bad as this job does. Because these people in this state, in this department, I don't know if it's the town, because I don't know much about the state, so I can't say I haven't worked in a lot of towns, so I don't know, but there's something about these women. They are so needy and so so obnoxious and it's so brutal to like, I will not walk out on the floor. So it's so hard to maintain that area to make sure it stays neat. And so people come up and they're like, I can't find this shoe, and they're like, there's only one, and then there's no box, and it's just a mess. So like I said, when I walked over the other day
out there
and realized that they put all these boots out on the floor, my stomach turned so badly. And now the bunker, now mind you, the sandals for the summer, the bunker that was there, they were the 500s. So like we have the bin behind, the stock room behind us goes from 93, well, okay, so I should say 22 to like, I don't know, 380 something. Then we have a second stock room, that's the 700. So if you find a shoe, it's the 700, it's the other stock room. The bunker was 500. So if anybody brought you a shoe that said 500, it was in the bunker. The problem is the manager that I have now has this grand idea of what she wants to do. So she started pulling shoes from our back room and putting them in the bunker. So I have bunker shoes that have normal bin numbers. I have a whole section of boots that have normal bin numbers. So now I have no idea where these fucking shoes are. So if people bring me a boot, I have no idea if it's in the back or not. So now I have to go in the back and hope that it's there. And if I go to the bin and there's no run of shoes there, then it's got to be out on the floor. My job has just gotten a whole lot more difficult than it needs to be because all of these shoes, and it's like, that's just irritating for us as cashiers trying to find these shoes for people. Mind you, the fact that they're about to tear the shit out of these boxes and just leave shoes all over the place. Because we did it with the slippers. For Christmas and winter, we had a whole section of slippers. And now, if anybody buys slippers, you know, you don't try them on. Like, they come in a range. They're small, which goes, what, from like 6 to 7, and then mediums like 8 to 9, and then something 10 to 11. I don't even know how it goes, but there's like it's like a span. You find your shoe size in there.
Yeah, each one's like 2 different sizes.
Yeah. You know, you don't try them on. You find your size, you buy the slippers. Like, they're in a box. You don't, but no. These people had to tear these shoes apart, tear the boxes, take the stuff out, put them on, and then just leave them. So now there's shoes, there's slippers everywhere. I don't know how many times I would come in early on my shift to try to organize these shoes, try to match the slippers, make sure they're the same size, find the right box, put them back, just to have it torn apart like 20 minutes later. And so I finally just stopped. I stopped trying. I'm like, if people would ask for slippers, they would come up with a slipper and I'd be like, nope, can't help you. They're on the wall. You gotta find it. If you can't find it, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you because I'm not gonna stand there and search for this slipper for you. I don't know what to tell you. People can't keep this shit in the box. I don't know I don't know how to help. Like, I can't help you. Like, you know, I mean, like, I have tried so hard. So it's just, now that the boots are out, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be so bad. And at that point, I'm like, the ninth can't come fast enough for me.
Yeah, right.
Because pretty soon I get to be next door watching the insanity ensue while all my other friends, like my ex-coworkers, get to lose their shit because of this mess over here. Because I'm not gonna have to deal with it for much longer.
That reminds me of the clearance stuff we had over there at Wally. Like what we ended up doing is we'd go out to the garden center and they have these long black, they call them resin tables, basically like these big plastic, mesh type tables.
Okay.
We just bring those things in and then like put like a white tablecloth or something on top of it, and then just like lay the clearance stuff out on top of that. Okay. And it was just complete free for everybody would be going like they'd be pulling things, ripping open packages, going, well, I gotta see what the thing looks like. Like there's a picture on the front.
Yep.
The picture shows you exactly what this thing looks like. The box says what it does. You don't need to open up the box at all. You don't need to do that up. But it was always a humongous mess. Yep. And then people would be like, oh, well, I found this on the clearance thing. It's like, does it have a clearance sticker on it? No. Like, then somebody just picked it up and put it down. It doesn't have a clearance sticker that says clearance, big, bright as day on a big old yellow sticker. Sorry, not clearance. It's regular. Yeah. I don't understand what people feel the need to have to see things or touch things. Like, my favorite at Party City is when they would open the tablecloths. A plastic tablecloth. I need to feel it. It's plastic! It says plastic! Like, you've never had a cheap plastic tablecloth? Like, why do you need to feel it? It's not like it was our vinyl
wanted to see if it was really vinyl or it's a fabric tablecloth. It's a plastic, especially the rolls. It's a big roll of plastic. Like, you can't tell me that you've never touched a plastic tablecloth in your life. Why do you have to touch it? Why did you feel the need to rip that open and touch it?
We had the same thing with people over in fabric, where it's like they'd start unrolling a bolt of fabric, and they'd be like, "Oh
my God!
Oh, well, I need to know what the pattern was." I'm like,
you can see
it's the same thing through the whole thing. You see this like 8-inch wide swath of it. It's that for the next 30 meters.
Like, it might change patterns halfway through.
If it does, you got the magic one that we're just gonna just throw away anyways because it's wrong.
It's got rainbows
throw it away.
on
We
it.
actually send it back and get our money back.
Right, it's got rainbows on it, but if I keep unrolling, there might be some butterflies somewhere in there. What the frick is this?
Like, hey, look, rainbow, 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 unicorn, rainbow, 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 rainbow. That's what it would be. So you get like rainbow, rainbow, unicorn fart, rainbow, rainbow, rainbow.
Let's see what the pattern was. Yeah.
It's like, like the only time we'd have something that would have like a wonky pattern that would go beyond what you see on the swath there is when you get the ones that were the panels. So then like you'd see one panel there, so then you got to open it up a little bit more to see more of the panel.
Right.
You know, and what the next panel was. But at that point, okay, you're actually trying to see your whole panel at that point, because the panel is going to be anywhere from like 12 to 18 inches wide, probably on average. I can see that one,
right.
Unroll that one, but it's blue. It's a blue fabric. It's not going to turn to purple. You can see the edge right here on the bottom edge of the top edge even of the bolt.
Yep.
It's blue all the way around. It's not gonna change.
Yeah, I actually had a...
If it does, because you bleached it.
Yeah, right?
You did it.
Yep, I actually had a woman opening up tablecloths in Party City once. She was at the Paw Patrol section, and she was pulling open a tablecloth, and I stopped her. I said, "Ma'am, if you open that, I need you to pay for that." I said, "You can't open the tablecloth. I need to see what the print looks like. The picture's on the package. It's the same print." It's like every print has the same design. It's all like it's open. You can't do that. So I watched her open it after she walked down the aisle, and she opened it up. So I found the empty
packaging for it?
The package. So I went up front and I stood. I told the cashier, I said, there's a customer, I said, coming. I'm going to ring her out. I went on the walkie. I said to one of the other associates, I said, I need you to do me a favor. I said, there is a Paw Patrol tablecloth wadded up somewhere, because I walked by her and she didn't have it anymore. So I said, there is a wadded up Paw Patrol tablecloth shoved somewhere in this store. I need you to find it in the next 5 minutes. And I was like, I will buy you a $10 Dunkin' Donuts gift card if you find me this tablecloth in the next 5 minutes.
Oh, I'd be all over that one.
He was. So up and down every aisle this kid went, and I stood up at that register, and I had the other cashier, just in case anybody else came up and needed to be rung out, she could help them. But I was standing there waiting for this woman with the empty package. The best part about it is, so she comes up, and he hasn't found the tablecloth yet. So she comes up, and I have the empty package. And I was like, "Ma'am," I was like, I'm charging you for this tablecloth. And she was like, "You can't do that." I said, yes, I can, because I watched you open it. And I told you that if you opened it, that I was going to have to charge you for it. And she was like, "You can't prove that was me." I was like, "Actually, I can, because we have cameras in here." I said, "I will go get the footage if I have to." I said, "Or you could just pay for this." And as I'm having this discussion, here comes my associate with the crumpled tablecloth, and he puts it on the counter right in front of her. And he's like, "I found it in the baby section, crumpled up underneath the stuff." I was like, "Thank you." I said, "Your gift card will be coming." I was like, so now I was like, "You're gonna pay for this." And she had, like, I was ringing out the other stuff that she had while I was having this discussion with her, and I rang up the tablecloth. I threw the thing away. I threw the tablecloth away because seeing that she had crumpled it up, it was unusable anymore. So I threw the tablecloth away. So I'm like, "Now you paid for it and you don't get it. How does that feel?" She was not happy, but she left the store without an argument because I was not taking her shit that day. And I did go across the street on my break, and because Dunkin' Donuts was in this was right against our parking lot, so I walked right across the grass and bought a $10 gift card for my associate because he deserved it.
Joel's posting in the chat right here. A Chick-fil-A customer bought a sandwich, was wasting time on her phone, and by the time she finally gets to the sandwich, starts complaining that it's cold.
Oh God!
It's like, oh, we actually had in one was I worked at, we had a McDonald's in there, and we actually had somebody do that same exact thing. Like they went in there, they were wasting their time doing something, had their food sitting right there in front of them, with the burger, fries, and it was sitting right there in front of them the whole time. And the same thing, they started complaining. Oh, my burger's cold. It's like, it was sitting there for 5 minutes in front of you.
Exactly.
You're farting around doing something. That's on you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, sorry, I had nothing to do with your burger being cold. You know, it's like, that's you.
Right.
You farted around. You're cold. Your food's cold because of you. Deal with it.
So I've only worked in the food industry twice. So my very first job, I actually worked for a Chinese food restaurant, which was
good one.
Right, which was cool because one, it was a family-owned business, so the owner was my boss. It was a small, little, tiny store. It had like a little dining room, had maybe like 4 tables, 5 tables in it, and then it was a walk-in, kind of takeout thing. The best part about it is I could be rude to the customers if I wanted, and they didn't know any better because with their culture, they're very people pleasing. So they won't, they're so afraid to offend that they get upset when something's going wrong and they want to say something, but they won't because in their nature, they just don't want to offend anybody. So that's where I came in because I'm the, angry American, so I can be an asshole and get my point across, and they didn't see anything wrong with it. Like unlike now in the store, if I'm an asshole to somebody, I get in trouble. This was the one time I can get away with it, and I still that's when I learned, because mind you, this is my first job ever. So I didn't have any customer service under my belt. I didn't have any retail experience. I didn't have any I didn't know how to deal with this kind of situation. It was kind of learn on the fly, but I knew not to be a complete asshole. I knew didn't come in. I'm not going to swear at people. I'm not going to yell at people, but I can get my point across without, you know what I mean? So the dining room was the worst because there was one day I had this guy come in with his gaggle of kids. There was 6 kids with this guy, ranging from 12 to 4. Okay. They seat themselves, they sit down and they order their food, and these kids are running rampant in this area. Now, mind you, it's a tiny, tiny dining room, and they were the only ones in there, so it's not like they were disturbing anybody else. But if you've ever watched them, if you've ever sat down in a Chinese restaurant, when they serve the soup, they fill that shit to the rim. That bowl is to the rim with soup, right? So now, my boss's wife is trying to carry food into this dining room to these people, and these kids are running everywhere, and you could see it in her face she is so frustrated, but she won't say anything. So they're not going to ask me to, so I kind of took it upon myself because I was getting mad. So I walked in there and I'm like, sir, you either need to have your children sit down or I'm going to have to ask you to leave, because she is serving hot food on those trays, and if she trips over one of your children and they get burned, that is going to be on you, not on us. So therefore, we don't have to deal with the situation, and you don't have to deal with the situation. Please seat your children, or I'm going to have to ask you to leave. And he looked like he was going to argue with me, and I'm standing there, and I guess I have had the mom face since before I was a mom, because I kind of gave him that, go ahead, fight me look. And he went to look like he was going to argue with me, and then decided to wrangle his children and sit them down and be quiet. So then my boss proceeded to serve them, and when they came back, she thanked me later. She's like, thank you. I'm like, nope, I got you, girl, because I saw it. I felt your aggravation. I said, so therefore, just like there was a woman who used to come in, and she had a dog in a carrier. She would keep it in the carrier, but she would bring it in and sit it on the chair in the dining room. But the thing was, she was also, now mind you, I worked across the street at the dry cleaners as well. She was also a patron of mine at the dry cleaners, but when she would come into the dry cleaner, she would leave the dog in the car because she felt it inappropriate to bring the dog into the dry cleaners, but it was okay for her to bring the dog into the restaurant. No. So I spoke to my boss and I'm like, listen, I said, I know you don't want to offend people and I know you don't like to, upset anybody. I said, but that is a health issue. I said, and if you get one person that has an issue with her having that dog, they can call the health department. I was like, and then you're going to show up one day and there's going to be a padlock on your door. I said, do you understand what I'm saying? They're going to shut you down and you can't open and run your business. I said, so if you want to talk to her, fine. Or if you would like me to tell her, I will. And I did. He let me tell her. And I explained to her, I said, ma'am, unfortunately, you cannot bring your dog in here. I said, it is a health issue. I was like, we can be shut down if somebody has an issue with it. I said, so I'm going to need you to leave the dog at home if you're going to plan to dine in to our establishment. And she's like, but I've been coming here. I said, yes, and I understand that. I said, and unfortunately, I said, they are too nice to say anything. I said, I, however, am not. I said, so I am saying it as nicely as I can. You're either going to have to leave the dog at home or you're not going to be allowed to eat in the restaurant anymore. And so she did not bring the dog inside anymore. So that was one of the fun parts of that because I got to say basically what I wanted to say. I learned how to do it nicely. But I got to tell them because they wouldn't. And I've had to a couple times. I had to because people would like to, because you could, when you were at the takeout, you could see the kitchen because it was that small that you could see them cook. Yeah. So a lot of the kids like to watch them cook because you would have all the flames, they're flicking the stuff in the wok. It was kind of like a show, kind of like the hibachi stuff if you were there. So people would like to hold their kids or they would sit them on the counter so they could see them cook. Mind you, I wasn't a fan of the fact that you would have your children sitting on the counter where I'm putting bags of food. It's not like, that was not okay with me, but fine. That wasn't an issue with most people, so I didn't say anything. But this woman one day had her daughter on the counter, and this child was not only playing with all my chopsticks, which I took that cup away from her because I was annoyed, but then she started to crawl on her stomach along the length of the counter. No, now you've crossed the line. So I was like, ma'am, if you can please not have her crawl across the counter. I said I would greatly appreciate that. If you'd like to have her sit so she can watch them cook, that's fine, but I can't have her crawling along the counter. Oh, no, she's fine.
No, she's not.
No, and this was the first time, mind you, this is the first time I had ever heard that statement come out of somebody, and my brain was having a hard time computing it. I've since heard it again, and I've learned how to deal with it, but I took a second because I'm like, no, that's not fine, because I'm pretty sure I mentioned it, so therefore it's not fine. So I looked at her, and I was like, ma'am, you need to have her sit down still or get off the counter. And she's looking at me like, how dare you? And I'm like, do I have to say it again? Am I making myself clear? And she's like, well, you don't have to be rude about it. I said, oh, I'm not trying to be rude. I need you to understand that it's not okay for having her crawl across my counter. So I need her to either sit still or get down. So she puts her down on the floor, and that was the end of that. It was so funny because I remember thinking when she said she's fine, I was like, I don't know what to say next. Like, no, it's not fine. And I wanted...
No, she's not.
And like the things that wanted to come out of my mouth, I knew I couldn't say. I stopped and I was like, how do I compute this?
I had a similar one where it's like, coming into, the grocery section of the store I was at, they would have their dog there in the basket of the cart. And it's like, back in that time, all we could do was we could ask, is this a service animal?
Right.
That's all we could do. If they said yes, we had to be hands off. Manager would have to handle it from there. We couldn't ask anything further, which... I totally understand what went with. These people then took their dog, put them up onto the belt at the checkout, and then started putting food up there after them too. And it's like, why would you put your dog up there? That's where everyone's food now goes. Now we have to sanitize this after you leave.
Yep.
And that person, we shut down that register, and they were up there with the bleach wipes, and they went over that belt like 10 times, getting as much bleach as they could on that thing just to keep it clean. And it's just like, oh no.
See, I used to get so annoyed with that. Oh.
And that comes out. That brings up like the whole thing that Joel actually just put in chat here as well. He's talking about they had a customer that claimed that they found something in their food. And you're saying, because there's something in my food here, you guys got to give me a refund. But then he wouldn't show them what was going on inside the food.
Oh, no.
It's like, we can't prove there's something in your food, so no refund.
Nope. Nope, not at all.
Like, but I don't want to gross anybody out. Like,
nope.
Then you gotta prove it still. You gotta show us there's something in there.
Exactly.
No, you're not getting what you want, buddy.
Right. I used to wonder about that because, I used to get annoyed with Party City because they had, because most of the places, they have, that no shirt, no shoes, no service. You can't bring food in. I never understood why people were allowed to bring food and drink into our store. I would find crumpled up McDonald's bags. I would find half-drunken Dunkin' Donuts cups. I'd find all sorts of shit. Half-eaten Nutella to-go cups just stuffed in the aisle. Why are we allowing people to bring food in? And the animals too. Don't put your dog in the cart like they're a kid. What is that? I have people now in our shoe department. They have strollers, legitimate fucking baby strollers for the dogs. What is wrong with you people? There is something wrong with those people. I'm sorry.
I can't leave Fluffy at home. I must have Fluffy.
They put it on a leash and walk it. Don't put it in a stroll like it's a baby. What? You're weird. Okay. I don't mean to be judgmental. Oh my God. Okay. So they
that's a whole different stream though.
I used to ask all the time. I'm like, can I tell them that they can't have the dog in here? And my boss would be like, no, unless it's causing an issue, if it's barking or growling at people, if it's causing a disturbance. I was like, so I used to make the joke. I said, well, what if I'm terrified of dogs? What if I'm petrified of dogs? And they walk in and I scream, ah, dog, and freak out. I said they would have to leave. He was like, Laura, I swear to God. He goes, if you do that. I was like, I just might. And he was like, please don't. I used to. I always tormented my bosses. They used to freaking hate that shit because they never knew what I was capable of.
Go back to the whole, dog in the cart and the in the store stuff. We actually have a family friend that she actually used to do that. She would go everywhere with this dog. And it's okay, during the summer, I can see, you don't leave your dog in the hot car. I understand that. It's, hot out there, 100+ degrees, especially inside the car. I understand that. But here's what you do. You take your dog, and you leave him home.
Exactly.
It's more comfortable at home.
Right.
The AC's not at home.
Yeah.
You'll be happier at home.
Listen, you have a dog. I used to have a dog. I never, if the dog was in the car, it's because we were going somewhere where the dog could go. Either we're going to the vet or we're going to the park or something like that. Somewhere where the dog could go.
On a pet go, on a pet
exactly.
Go.
I'm not going to take the dog if I'm going to the restaurant. I'm not going to take the dog if I'm going to the grocery store. I'm not going to take the dog if I'm going to Walmart. No. I'm not going to take the dog while I'm running errands. No, the dog stays at home where it's comfortable and plays and it's got his toys and its bed and its water and he's happy and I'm going to go run my errands and come back and then play with the dog when I'm home. No. So I had the same thing though. I had a woman bring a dog on a leash into our department, standing in line. There's 50 people in our waiting room. It was a busy ass day. I think we were having some kind of friends and family sale or something. Well, this woman loses her shit because she claims the woman next to her stepped on the dog. And then the woman who's...
She stepped on the dog.
She said she stepped on the dog. I don't know if she stepped on the dog. I don't know. I was at the... Like I said, we were at the register. We had a line of people. She starts screaming that this woman stepped on her dog. She's yelling at this woman. The woman who is getting blamed is like, I didn't step on your dog, but why... She turns around, she goes, why the fuck do you have a dog in the store anyway? And then these two, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I'm called management. I need somebody up here now. Please. I was like, security, something. I was like, these two are going to start duking it out because she claimed they stepped on a dog.
Yeah, I never understood the whole thing of why even bring a dog into a non-dog store in the first place.
Exactly.
It makes no sense at all.
No.
But that's those people who sit there and go, I can't be without Fluffy is my emotional support puppy. I need to have him with me.
And that's where.
Meanwhile, the dog has like no vest, and it's like this little chihuahua shaking. Scared by a leaf.
Exactly, and this is my issue. Like, I understand the support dog. I do get it. Even for like, okay, so I'm old. So from my age, I'm used to like seeing eye dogs and those kind of animals. Those animals that have the vests that are trained to protect their people for whatever disability they have. They are trained. But that's the thing,
is they have the vest.
Exactly, because they're trained. And there's a specific. They're usually like German shepherds or something, aren't they? Like they're a specific breed. There's
all kinds.
There's all kinds. No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I'm used to like the bigger, the bigger dogs that are trained to help their owners, protect their owners, bring attention to if something happens. Like, they're trained for certain medical things. And nowadays, people have emotional support dogs that are these little tiny dogs that make them feel better. And I get that. I get it. Like, I understand the dog helping with anxiety, but people
but that's
are
still
using
also
that.
A trained dog has the vest and paperwork.
Okay, see that I wasn't aware. Like, I know certain people have paperwork. I didn't know they were trained.
Yeah, they're still trained for that purpose, and they still have to have the vest and the paperwork and everything, because the training is to actually help the dog be able to actually be out and about in society.
Okay.
And not react the way a dog would react in those situations.
Okay. See,
they'll just react the way the emotional support animal is supposed to react, which is ignore everything else, pay attention to my person.
Right. And see, and that's the thing, because like my ex-husband used to have this problem. He had what they called the dog lady, who used to come into the movie theater, and I mean, she probably still does, and she would bring this dog, this little tiny rat hairy dog, and claim it was a emotional support dog, but like refused to show paperwork because she claimed that they didn't have to see paperwork, and the management wouldn't fight it. Like the upper management, because my ex was a manager, but the upper management would fight it and just be like, let her have it. But the thing was, the problem was the dog was not trained, it was not vested, and it would cause a problem. Like, she would try to sit it in a seat, and my ex and the other managers would tell her that you'd have to keep the dog on your lap. You cannot put it in a seat unless you pay for that seat, because that's the seat that somebody's going to pay for. You know, they had issues where people had complained because she wasn't paying attention to the dog, and the dog would eat the popcorn of the person who was sitting next to her. You know, like the dog would like just want to play, and like it was not trained. It was not trained to just sit there. And she claimed that she had seizures, and that the dog was going to bark if she had a seizure. But I no, so it was like people that use that. So that it's like
those dogs actually, they sit there and they pay attention to their human, and they ignore all other external stimuli, so that way they can actually be focused on their job. Like they are, like that's the thing with that vest and everything. They know, okay, I have the vest on, I am working. Right. Vest is off. It's regular old puppy time. Yeah, and people just come in with these little tiny dogs all the time, and it drives me crazy, because I'm like, I swear to God, I said, if your dog craps on my floor, I'm rubbing your nose in it, not the dog's. Yeah, right. I'm like, and then you're gonna clean it up, or I'll use your shirt to clean it up, because I'm not cleaning up dog shit. I'm not doing it in my store. Using your shirt to clean up your dog's pee. Yeah, I will. I swear to God, while you're still wearing it, like I will roll your ass in it. Like, do not tempt me, because I am not having this crap. Like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm like, dude, get out of my store with your dog. Like, I don't work in a pet-friendly store. Like, I don't know why this is allowed. It used to drive me crazy. Like, that was the thing. Like, why do we not have signs that stop this? Like, why is it okay for these people to come in here with this stuff? So there you go, everybody. If you have your dog over there in Michigan, just go find whatever store Mama Frimp's at. Bring your dog up in there. She will show you a good time if you come with your own dog too yourself. Yep, because at that point it becomes fuck around and find out, because you will find out. We will capture that for YouTube and TikTok, and we'll all become YouTube, TikTok famous. It'll be good. It'll be awesome. Next time on Retail Stories, Mama Frimp cleaning up dog crap with the owner's shirt. While they were still wearing it. Yeah, Jesse used to say that to me all the time. Every time I would threaten to do something, he's like, I want that footage. That's going on YouTube. I said, you bet your ass it is. That's the number one way to become YouTube, TikTok famous, right there.
Yep. Oh yeah, because like I after all these years, I pride myself on my customer service. I can make you feel super small and really stupid and still be extremely pleasant about it, like with a smile. But there is a line in the sand that you can draw that pulls me out of my customer service, and then I just become straight up Laura, and I don't give a shit. Like, there have been a few times in my stint working in retail where people have crossed that line and snapped me out of my customer service, and now I'm on defense mode. And I am not held responsible for what flies out of my mouth at that point. And it takes a lot to get me to that point. Like, it's funny because the girls that I work with are young, and they come from a different background, so they're like, they get frustrated easily, and they're like, I don't take any shit and this and that. Where like, I will take a lot of crap for people, but it does, like, when you see me snap, you know that person has pushed me well beyond my limit of niceness and customer service.
Yes, Joel, they've seen Mama's true form in those instances.
Oh yeah. The first time it happened, I was working at the dry cleaners. Now, I was, I had to be in my 20s at this point, and I dealt with a lot of crap because I was in one of the stores that just had to close. There was a main store in the center of town that had that did all the washing. All the managers were there, all the staff was there. That's where they did all the cleaning. I was just a location where they dropped off and picked up their clothes. So people would come in the morning, they would drop off their clothes. I would have somebody from the main office come and pick that up, clean it, bring it back, and hang it on the rack, that they would come and get it. That's how it worked. So when people would come to pick up their clothes, if something was missing, if it was damaged or whatever, they would scream at me because I'm the one who's there. I did not wash your clothes. I did not stain your clothes. I had nothing to do with the cleaning of your clothes. I just took them from you, and then I took them from my boss, and I'm handing them back to you. If there's some sort of issue, you have to deal with them. So people would come in and be like, there was a stain, or this wasn't cleaned, or you ruined this, or there's too much starch. And I'm like, well, sir, I said, I'm sorry, I can call my boss. I said, I can have them talk to you. I said, because I don't do this, And most of the time they understood that I was the middleman. But I had this guy one day, his order was not there. I called the main store. I was like, I have this gentleman here. He's looking for his order. I said, he dropped it off at such a time. This is the number. I gave him all the information. They don't have his information, so they're telling me we don't have anything here. And I'm like, well, I took it in on this time. I don't know what you did with the ticket, but you guys got to figure this out. And so I hang up the phone with them, and he hears me because the store was not that big. So I explained. I said, they don't have the ticket. I explained to them. I said, but they're going to look for it. He starts screaming, I don't fucking believe you. I can't believe you lost my shirt. Blah, blah. Mind you, I am 20 years old.
And you put too much starch in my shorts.
Right. I was like, I stand a good, I was like, what, 5'1" at this point? Like, I'm a little tiny thing. Okay. This man is standing a good 6'3", shoulders to here, linebacker status, standing there screaming at me, swearing at me. And it snapped me out of, like, at first I was trying to calm him down, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, and now it snaps me out because now it's gone from, okay, I need to calm him down because he's upset, to now I feel threatened. So now and it's funny because you know how, like, most people have, like, a fight or flight instinct? Yeah. I'm a Taurus. Apparently I have a fight instinct, so my body language, I puffed up my chest and I raised my voice, and again, mom tone, because, it's just been inherent in me since I was a child. And I said, sir, you are going to stop swearing, you are going to stop yelling, and you are going to remove yourself from my store if you do not calm down. I was like, I do not have your clothes. I did not lose your clothes. I was like, stop. And he stopped and he looked at me, and I'm like, you're going to calm down? Or do I have to call the authorities to have you removed? And then he like took a second, And he was like, I'm sorry. He was like, I will go. I'm like, thank you. I will have them call you, because I had all his information because we had been looking up his stuff. I was like, I will have them call you when they find your stuff. But it was like, it's so funny how it triggers, because I'm like, I'm always so, keep a smile. I'm so sorry, apologetic. We'll figure this out. What can I do? That's like how my brain works. But he snapped me out of that. I'm done being pleasant with you. Now you're triggering my fight or flight instinct, and now I'm going to fight back, because now you've crossed a line and you're no longer a customer. Now you're a threat.
Yep. Just like Joel just said, mess with the bull, get the horns.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And it's like, and it's like I said, it takes a lot. You have to really be. It's like at a Karen level. Before Karens were a thing, but like you really have to be at that level of, now I feel threatened to snap me out of that. And then like I said, I was able to keep my cool. Like I was able to like assert myself without yelling or swearing at him. Like I didn't meet his level, but I'm gonna meet you. I'm gonna match your energy at that point. And you want to fight with me, I will fight back. I put my foot down, and I'm like, this is gonna stop, because this is not okay. I don't know why you think you could act like this. Nowadays with the Karen thing, they just keep going. You can't snap them out of that. Like I think I snapped him out of whatever fucking brain fog he had at the moment, and he realized that he's yelling at this 20-year-old girl. And all of a sudden
Karen's,
he was like,
okay. They're gonna go full Karen no matter what, all the time.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why it's funny, because like I don't know if I told you guys. I think I made a video on it. Is the day that I actually had a woman threaten me, and in any normal situation, I would have been able to handle it differently. But because my life had just blown up that previous day, and I was in a terrible headspace. I have this woman I walk into work, and this woman is already on fire. Like she's already agitated. She's looking for a fight. So I walk into an already bad situation. She is just angry at everything, and no matter what I do, she's not going to be happy. And I'm trying so hard to maintain my composure with this woman, and I felt myself losing control because I was in such a bad headspace that I was not going to be able to handle it. I put the paper down that I was dealing with, and I said, I can't do this, and I walked away from her, because I knew if I kept going, it was going to end badly. And at that point, this woman loses her freaking mind, and she is standing out in the lobby screaming that she is going to kick my ass. Well, mind you, this woman's like 60 years old. I had a 60-year-old woman out there claiming she's going to kick my ass because I walked away from her, and I was like, oh my God. I
called, you're a little whippersnapper.
Right? And I called the management to come deal with her, because I'm like, at this point I'm in tears. And I was so mad, because like I knew how I would have handled that differently if the situation hadn't been where you know what I mean? Yep. Like the previous things hadn't occurred, I wouldn't have been in that same state. I would have been able to handle it differently. But at that point, I just lost control, because I was like, I can't deal with this woman. I was like, and it was crazy. But yeah, there's been a few people that have snapped me out of my customer service mood.
Yeah. Hey, this was fun.
It was fun. Well, like I said, you and I could sit and talk for days. So.
Oh yeah, we've had so many different experiences, so many different things, but it is actually that time, everybody.
It is. It went by fast.
It did. That was fun.
It was.
So.
We will have to do this again.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have to schedule another time, to do some more Just Chatting things, and just put it out there, and like what topics people want to talk about, and do all that kind of stuff, and have some fun with it.
Absolutely.
So I know I'm planning on doing a few similar things to this, like on doing like a Facebook Live on my my page on there and everything. Just having a good time doing that, and having some fun with just chatting type stuff.
That would be cool.
But they're gonna pop Mama's link up there inside my chat there for anybody who is curious about her.
Thank you.
And then there's all my socials on the one big convenient place on the link tree right there.
Lucky you. I'm still typing mine out.
Well, Linktree makes it easy. Just pop it in there. I know you have a Linktree, so you can put whatever. So,
True.
Different chat for different time. As OBS decides now to disconnect. That's kind of funny. Went the entire time.
Oh no! Oh, that's what I forgot.
Went the entire time, and then it sits there and says, "Now I'm going to disconnect and reconnect and do all that kind of thing."
Gotta love it.
And it's still saying reconnecting to see if we can actually get some reconnection going. Not saying I'm missing any frames or anything. It's just saying reconnecting.
Okay.
I don't know. Am I back yet? I don't know. I have a green thing there, but it says reconnecting there. I don't know.
Do you want me to do my outro while we wait for yours to come back?
Go ahead, do your outro. We'll see if mine even pops up here.
Right.
I gotta thank somebody for following too.
I still have to figure out how to fix that, by the way. Thank you for saying that. Okay, so I have put in Chimp's link, so please check him out. He is awesome. And there is all of my socials, my Twitter, my Instagram, my TikTok, my YouTube vlog, my gaming YouTube, and my Discord. So please feel free to follow me on all of those. If you like these retail stories, my vlog YouTube has an entire playlist for all my retail stories. I do other smaller, quicker stories on TikTok. So you can follow me there as well. But yeah, this was definitely fun, and we will definitely have to plan this again. So I hope you all join me for the next one. And until then, you have a fantabulous night. Goodbye, and goodbye.
Goodbye.